Away we go. On a Monday edition, Mr. Relevant, it's episode 301. Packers lose in Cleveland 13-10 to the Browns. Absolute choke job by Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, and the Green Bay Packers. As they fall to 2-1 on the season, they are 0-1 now on road games, which we will talk about at some point. But we will dive into that. Awful sports weekend in this state. The Badgers are awful. Luke Fickell probably shouldn't have a job anymore. Maybe not Chris McIntosh, the athletic director at Wisconsin, either. The Brewers don't really win this weekend. However, they do clinch the NL Central for the third year in a row, so I guess that's the positive. But all in all, bad sports weekend. Alex Strouf, Josh DiMaggio, Will Sommers with you from the Google offices. One call That's All studio in downtown Milwaukee. Hunter Vaughn with us as well in the Everlight Solar studio in downtown Madison.
I will say, even though zero of Hunter's teams got a win this weekend, it was a huge win that the Packers lost to the Browns.
For Hunter? Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have been spending a lot of time on those Badgers.
Yeah, we would have been.
Yeah.
And we might get to them and what we missed now. The Badgers are not the story today for me.
No.
Actually, that's a good point by you. That is a win for Hunter. We have to spend less time talking about a team he loves losing embarrassingly.
And the amount of belief he had just a week ago.
And instead, we're going to talk about a team he doesn't really like that much. Cowboys, he's a Cowboys fan, played this week. I'm actually going to let Micah Parsons explain what happened, because I think it means more coming from him than me to describe what the Packers did Sunday in Cleveland. Here's Micah Parsons after the game.
And sometimes, just like today, you the bed. That's just the reality of it.
Just the reality of it. The Packers bleep the bed. As simple as that. They had the defense of the Packers was pitching a shutout against Cleveland until 3.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. And somehow, some way, the Browns, who are not a very good football team, specifically on offense, found a way to score 13 points in 3.5 minutes to win the game. Now, granted, the Packers did every single thing they could to help the Browns win that football game at the end of the fourth quarter. Jordan Love, interception, a blocked field goal that's returned to field goal range for Cleveland. They did everything they could to hand the Browns their first win of the season on a silver platter. And it's just embarrassing. It is disgusting. It is every synonym you could think of for a team that we viewed, and I have said multiple times the last few weeks, for a team that we viewed as one of, if not the best in the National Football League, to go on the road to the lowly Browns, who have a good defense, who have a destructive front seven, right? They looked really good. They made the Packers look like a JV football team on Sunday. Specifically in the fourth quarter, I might argue they made them look like a Pop Warner football team at the end of the fourth quarter. The Packers looked like they didn't belong in the same field as the Browns in the last 3.5 minutes. The Browns! That's what that game went down to. We're going to get the stock up, stock down in a bit, but just about everything in this game was yucky. Defensively, it was fine. Now, there were some penalties on Micah Parsons late in the game that you might want back, and Micah Parsons said it right there. Sometimes you bleep the bed like they did yesterday. But offensively is the story. The offense was horrendous. Matt LaFleur did not have his finest day. Jordan Love did not have his finest day. The offensive line had, I've seen a few different stats. The argument on the internet today is, did the Packers offensive line have the worst single unit performance since 2021 or 2020? That's the argument I'm saying. It's 2025. That's how bad it was. Oh, and then to add on to Matt LaFleur's bad day, Matt LaFleur signed off on the right tackle who has a torn oblique, said earlier this week he couldn't run, and then he signed off on him playing, and he re-injured himself in the very first play of the game. What the hell are we doing in Cleveland? Look, I've never been to Cleveland. I've heard it's a fine city. I don't know if there was something in the air. I don't know if there was something in the water in Cleveland, but it seemed like everything that could have went wrong for the Green Bay Packers. And that's what pisses me off. Brett O'Clair chimes in on the ESPN Madison YouTube page. Says, I blame Strouf because of his cakewalk comment. So what he's referring to there is at the beginning of Green Bay game day yesterday, I was sitting in this chair, and I said to Brian Bulaga, and I kind of just made a comment in passing. I was trying to transition into something else. And I said, what should be a cakewalk? And Blue, to his credit, got all over me. He goes, we don't do that in the NFL. There's no such thing as a cakewalk. Every game is hard. They're all NFL teams. And he's right about that. And the Browns defense is good. Better than I expected, honestly. I thought maybe the fact that they were the best, was it rushing defense, I think, heading into yesterday's game, might have been a little fluky. I take it back. Wasn't fluky at all. That's a good front seven. It's a really good front seven. Packers got dominated. Their offense didn't look like it belonged. Dare I say Joe Flacco looked like the better quarterback than Jordan Love yesterday. Like that, probably not the whole game, but I'm upset.
I think you're lost in the sauce a bit here. I appreciate your passion, your anger, your vitriol. I don't think we should allow one singular game to affect what we think about for the outcome of the season. You can be frustrated, you can be disappointed, you can be embarrassed. I think all of those things are fair. The most disheartening thing of there's no real Jordan Love concern from me. That was a bad throw. Stuff like that happens.
It wasn't a good game, though, Josh, from Jordan Love, right? Like, the completion stats are going to misconstrue you from the actual evidence that we saw yesterday. He was 18 to 25, 183 yards, a touchdown and interception. It wasn't a good day for him.
Yeah, contextless, yes, I agree. But did you see who the worst players were graded for the Packers all season long?
So, through 3 games?
Yeah.
I have not seen those stats. I would guess they play on the offensive line, though.
The worst 5 grades the Packers have gotten on offense all season long came yesterday for 5 separate offensive linemen.
Was Sean Ryan one of them? I thought he had a fine day.
He was not, but
Okay.
they played about 7 offensive linemen, so some people did. But Aaron Banks was part of the bad grades.
Yep. He dropped out at
Rasheed
halftime.
Walker was actually the worst, followed by Jordan Morgan, Aaron Banks.
I'm shocked Jordan Morgan wasn't the worst.
You would think so, but he did figure it out once they had played him at what was his third position,
correct,
of the night of the day. The big thing for me that I was left with was wondering 2 things. I think Matt LaFleur and both Jordan Love are good. I don't know if they're the guys that are going to be the ones that win you a Super Bowl. And that to me was disheartening. I've had those questions lingering for a while about Jordan Love. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a quarterback many teams, the vast majority of teams would want. But does he have the very hard thing to find? And it's often like we can argue, is there such thing as clutch or not?
Sure.
But does he have the quarterback who says, we're not losing this game because I'm going to make sure of it? And he did his best. It did take a pass interference, and then it was just an out route on a delayed release there from Tucker Kraft, but they were in position to kick a game-winning field goal. That, to me, those questions I thought I was going to be able to put in the rear view mirror, after the first 2 games because of how comfortable and how poised and how in command of the offense he looked. Then you add in the Matt LaFleur thing. I thought this was one of Matt LaFleur's worst games of his NFL career.
I agree.
I think he was pulling all the wrong strings, and it started when you allowed Zach Tom to go out there and start at right tackle, to which he got 1 play and came off the field. Then it was just the play sequencing, the weird aggressiveness at times, then conservativeness. He seemed to, when conservative made sense, he didn't go conservative, and when aggression made sense, he went conservative.
Yeah.
Like he did the exact opposite, and it seemed like he wasn't in tune with what was happening all day long.
So there are words we use in sports that I don't know if they're always appropriate. And one of those words is rhythm, right? Getting into a rhythm.
Yes.
I don't love that word typically, but I think when you look at yesterday's game, the Packers offense was never in a rhythm. It never felt like there was momentum. It never felt like they really had this game not won, but even in their grasp, despite being up 2 scores late in the 4th quarter. It just felt like this was a game where they were knocking at the door and should have kicked the door open much earlier than they never did it, but they should have kicked the door in much earlier in the game. From a Matt LaFleur perspective, I agree with you. I think this was one of his, if not his worst game as a play caller. I thought there were so many questionable decisions. He won a challenge for once, so congrats to him. But other than that, I just really thought LaFleur didn't show the offensive genius I've been touting him as the last 2 weeks, and how I thought he's one of the best play callers in the National Football League. Yesterday was not a good example of that. I just felt like it lacked consistency, it lacked rhythm, it lacked, putting your hands around the throat of the other team and just choking them out, suffocating them. Because that's what the Packers should have done against the Browns. And again, it's a good front seven, and it was a disruptive front seven, and it was a defense that got after Jordan Love 5 times and pressured Jordan Love on 41% of his snaps, which was the most a quarterback has seen all season. So Love was flustered. He couldn't get anything going. You just had inconsistent play calling. You're right. When you should have gone conservative, you went not conservative. Inconservative? Aggressive? Yeah, that would probably be the better word. When you should have gone aggressive, you went conservative, especially like when they went for that field goal, for example. Now, penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
But it just so much bad came in that fourth quarter that allowed the Browns to just come in and win that game.
Yeah, the Packers gave the game away. There was many times to stop the bleeding and to set things on the right path, and they failed to do it. I think it's a deserved wake-up call. I also did take note of the offense did the defense, which has been one of the best units in all of football, period, didn't look the same. And the way they were rallying to the ball, hats to the ball, you'd see guys just getting lit up, and there'd be 7 guys there. That didn't feel like that happened at any point yesterday. It felt like they came in and said, we're just going to take care of business and we're going to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then when a team who, let's be honest, Joe Flacco is turbo ass in terms of starting quarterbacks in the NFL, but he is a veteran. And he is going to put them in a position to win if you give him that opportunity. And that's exactly what the Packers ended up doing.
Yeah, so a couple of things defensively. Edgerrin Cooper had by far his quietest day of this season.
Yep.
He only had 4 tackles. Quay Walker filled in, handsomely. He had 14 tackles. It was a game high. Defensively, they were playing a pretty bad offense.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it felt so good. But you're right. I think visually there were still more plays where you go,
It didn't
ooh,
look the same.
That's not what they did against the Lions and Commanders. For example, Quinshon Judkins, right? He had a few plays, a few runs, the rookie running back for Cleveland, where he got free, including a big 38-yarder, which was the biggest play of the game. That's where I go, that felt a little bit different. Now, could it be a bad day? Could it be a road game? Could it be the environment? Could it be the fact it was raining at one point in the game? I don't know. We can come up with a list of 10,000 excuses. The fact of the matter is, the Packers did not look nearly as dominant as they did against 2 teams we consider better than the Cleveland Browns and the Detroit Lions and Washington Commanders to kick off the season, both offensively and defensively. And don't even get me started on special teams, which we will get to in Stock Up, Stock Down, also looked piss poor. So all in all, this was a really frustrating game. Does this lead me to think the Packers are a bad team? Of course not.
No.
Does this lead me to think the Packers are no longer a real contender? No, it does not. But in week 3, after winning 2 games really convincingly and having 10 days of rest, entering your first road challenge of the year in Cleveland, you didn't show up. Jordan Love was not the MVP candidate he was through the first 2 weeks yesterday. He made another really bad decision, which he does here and there. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL for the next decade. But when you make decisions like he did yesterday on that interception throw, that's what prevents you from going from good to great. And that's a big concern for me with Love because, he had that great streak, which ended yesterday, of regular season games without throwing an interception. Obviously had 3 in the playoff game against Philadelphia. The year prior against San Francisco had a few bad throws in that do-or-die game. It feels like when games are on the line or when games are uncomfortably close, Love makes a throw where you go, what are we thinking there? And that was, again, the case yesterday on his interception.
Here's the thing I'll add to that. We've seen less talented, less gifted, or older and more washed quarterbacks go out and win Super Bowls because they have elite defenses. What they do typically is that quarterback doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and the offense puts them in a position via the play calling to limit those mistakes, go do what you need to do, and win even if it's ugly. And I don't think Matt LaFleur has fully embraced the fact that the Packers, to win a Super Bowl in 2025, need to be a defensive-led program. I think he gets too caught up in this is how I'm used to doing things, this is how I want to win, and Jordan shouldn't be throwing the ball in that 3rd and 3. Mm-hmm. That offense hasn't moved the ball all day. They are likely to get you a turnover at some point. You put Joe Flacco and the rest of those guys out there enough, they're going to give you the ball. Xavier McKinney did get that interception, but that was an arm punt. What he didn't do was trust Josh Jacobs, all-pro caliber player. Offensive line is struggling. I understand that. But you're a lot less likely to turn the ball over by just running it on 3rd and 3, and who knows? Maybe you get that first down. And maybe that changes the trajectory of the game. And I'm not just doing the hindsight 2020 thing. Mm-hmm. In that spot, the smart play and the winning percentage play, the play that gives you the best chance to go out and win that game is to just run it there. And I understand why they wanted to pass it, because you do effectively end the game. You do leave it up to your quarterback. He is the franchise quarterback. But given how things have gone, given how the offensive line is played, just run it and you trust Micah Parsons, Xavier McKinney, Edgerrin Cooper, all those guys to get a stop or get a turnover. And that to me was where the game was lost.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. There was a ton of disappointment there. I'm not worried about the defense. Let me say that. I'm not worried about the defense.
No, I think, and I texted you yesterday, probably by the end of the show, you'll convince yourself it was a good thing. But the way they played and rewatching it, that was a team, and not just the defense, but the defense is certainly part of it, that came in there and thought, we can just sort of roll the ball out and we're going to win. And hopefully that's a good wake-up call for them, that even when you play a team like the Bears or the Cowboys, and you're favored by a touchdown or more, if you let them, they'll beat you. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how bad or how good they're playing. It's the NFL, and those teams will beat you if you give them the opportunity to.
Gotta be honest with you. I thought there was no way they wouldn't cover.
I thought there was a better chance than I wanted to admit, just because I understand how good that front seven is.
Yeah, but again, I especially when I saw Zach Tom was active, I was like, oh, well, the Packers training staff is so good. There's no way they're going to let him play with a torn oblique if he's not ready to go. And
that one's confusing to me. I haven't really figured out what's going on.
I mean, you can't. That's not just something you play through with a torn oblique.
And there are things you can do, especially like we see it all the time, especially if you're a fantasy football player. You'll see a guy go out in pregame and test it. Mm-hmm. Like, can I do the things I need to do? And I know it's a little bit more difficult because Myles Garrett running at you and trying to get past you is a lot different than even a guy like, whatever trainer they got doing that. But to be that unhealthy and unable to withstand what was, what he was feeling in that oblique, to me is confusing that they got there.
No. Let's get through some comments. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Kai chimes in. Browns have a really good defense yesterday. What other defensive teams do you think will have the same effect to the Packers as the Browns did? It's a really good question. And obviously the schedule has some tough teams on it. I don't know that we're going to see that again. The fact that the Packers completely turtled offensively.
If the offensive line plays as bad as it did, everybody's going to look like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Mason Graham, the rookie defensive tackle playing his third NFL game,
had a terrific day.
Had a nearly 50% pass rush win rate. The average number for them is 9%. It's sub 10. And he was over 40. I think he was at 42, 43. That is so bad.
Yeah, it is.
And the thing is, the guy we thought was going to be like the Rock in the middle there, Elton Jenkins, he hasn't been that good.
No.
He hasn't he had a watch out block. Elton Jenkins doesn't do that.
No, he does not. And look, I imagine the adjustment, the transition.
Yes,
it's gonna take time. But yesterday was not a good day for him.
I will point to, even though I think he was right to holding out in training camp and then getting put up against, that's probably those things you could probably draw a connection.
Yeah, there's probably a connection to draw there. Yeah. I don't disagree with you on that.
As much as he has every right to hold out, and the man deserves to be paid, he's been a great Packer. He hasn't looked ready to play through 3 weeks.
Yeah. Nevea chimes in. The memo is stop Jacobs, have Love beat you. Worked for the Browns. Yeah, I don't know about that, but it certainly worked. Jacobs had a hard time to get things going at all this year.
Both the Commanders and Lions tried that and
It didn't work.
Jordan Love beat them.
Yes, but Jordan Love did not beat the Browns.
No.
Let's not get it twisted on that one. Scott chimes in. Oh, here we go.
Scotty.
Oh, Scott. I'm going to do it, Scotty. Scott, I'm going to read it. I can't promise I'm going to be respectful, but I'm going to read it.
Uh-oh.
Love has a slow first step. Difficulty escaping the pocket. He is slower than Flacco. It's time to give Willis a look.
That's wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong.
You guys have a Willis meter?
0%.
Zero.
That's
Okay.
a 0%.
I was just curious.
Oh, good to hear from Will for the
Yeah.
first time today. It only took him 21 minutes to bring up the Bears.
I was letting you guys go. I
Appreciate
didn't bring
that.
up the Bears at all.
You copied the Bagent meter, which we will visit, I'm sure, at some point today.
We've only given this a distinction, and I'm feeling nice today. I've got enough going on with the Packers and Badgers, but I want to diagnose Scott with a...
Terminal case of not knowing ball.
You got it.
Yeah.
No, he's not slower than Joe Flacco.
Joseph chimes in. LaFleur was horrible, didn't have his team ready, and it showed all afternoon. I always struggle with the didn't have his team ready thing. I think they just got their asses kicked.
I think there's a degree that you can...
And maybe they overlooked the Browns a little bit. But
Here's the thing. I don't think Matt LaFleur is particularly good at getting his team up to go. I think it's among the players to do it, or a guy like Campanile to get everyone fired up, because that's just not Matt LaFleur's bag.
I did not, I got to be honest, I was not anticipating an Anthony Campanile plug in the first 20 minutes of today's show.
When I think of like getting people fired up.
Yeah, absolutely. That guy, he's a fire me up guy, no doubt. And then Austin chimes in. Any comments on the highest paid special teams coordinator in the NFL? Yeah, we'll get there.
Fire him.
Yeah, let's just go. Let's get the stock up, stock down. We do this after every Packers game. Some stocks go up, some stocks go down. This is not an indication of where they're at through the full season. This is just an indication of the past game. So in this case, it's week 3's loss to the Browns. As you can imagine, a lot more stocks going down than stocks going up after the first loss this season for the Green Bay Packers. Let's get into it. Let's start with a stock down.
Stock down.
Let's start with decision making. I've kind of riffed through all three of these, so I'll hit them real fast. But I think the decision to make Zach Tom active was a bad one. It was a questionable decision from the get-go. We talked about it at length on yesterday's pregame show. I don't get having a guy with an oblique tear active after just missing one game. I just didn't get the decision. And then I really didn't get the decision after he exited after only one play on the field. So the Tom being active decision, LaFleur's play calling decision making, didn't really get that. And then again, this is not the first time we've brought this up. It's the first time we've brought it up this year. But what was Love thinking on the interception? That was just a bad throw. And I didn't really understand it. So decision making gets a stock down for me.
Stock up.
This one, you might say it's patting myself on the back, but it's all the people who've been Matt LaFleur critics. All the people who said stop worrying about what's happening in the stands and focus on your team and your offense and make sure you got everything going. We said it earlier, and I stand by it. I think this was the worst game of Matt LaFleur's coaching career for the Green Bay Packers. He didn't seem to meet the moment. He didn't seem to know what the game needed and what his team needed and in what situations he needed it. I think there was plenty of times where you can go back, and I think many were doing it in live time. This isn't hindsight 2020, where he was pulling the wrong strings at the wrong time consistently in a game where you knew you weren't going to need much more than 14 to 17 points to win this, and you couldn't muster it. You couldn't do it. And I think it's been a rough showing here for Matt LaFleur, and I hope they get things corrected.
Stock down.
That would be the aforementioned highest paid special teams coordinator in the National Football League.
Get this guy out of my life.
It's year 3 of Rich Bisaccia in Green Bay. Tell me where we've improved.
Nowhere.
Maybe the kicker position. But you saw one get blocked yesterday.
Well, if you remember, when there was kicking issues, everyone said, well, it's not Rich Bisaccia's fault.
Yep. And then they bring in Brandon McManus. He doinks one last week against the Commanders, has one blocked yesterday against the Cleveland Browns. And again, I don't know that the block is necessarily McManus' fault, but punt return decisions.
Low trajectory.
Yeah. But also, I mean, they broke down on the broadcast prior to that. Okay, they're not blocking very well on the right side. Yeah. And they get through and ultimately block it. The other part of this is this punt return, kick return fiasco. You have McCole Hardman sitting on the practice squad. You have open roster spots. What the hell are we doing? Stop putting Matthew Golden back there. I'm willing to try Savion Williams a little bit more, But you never had an answer entering the season who's going to be returning kicks and punts now that Keyshawn Nixon's not doing it. You literally signed McCole Hardman in the offseason to do that role. You have him on the practice squad. You have 2 open roster spots right now. I don't get the point of not bringing him up. That's just another gripe. I could go on with Rich Bisaccia. I don't understand the point of him.
Is there? Well, I've been pounding the Rich Bisaccia drum for I think as long as anybody has, because when you come in with the moniker of he was supposed to be the savior. And yes, Will can attest to this. I did hear somebody compare him to Joe Barry and say it was even worse than Joe Barry because we had no expectations yesterday on the postgame show. I think his tenure in Green Bay has been equally as disastrous, especially when you include expectations.
I agree 100%.
Is there a limit on elevations on game day that you can have for a practice squad player?
Yes, depending on the player.
Okay. Is it like a vested amount of like how much you've played in the NFL? Because like
I believe that
if
plays
they
a
were
role,
doing
yeah.
the McCole Hardman, is there potential they've thought we're going to weather the storm and see if we need to pull the McCole Hardman?
I would guess that's the case, but when is there a better time than right now?
You got to stop the bleeding.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean, you saw the Matthew Golden one against the Commanders where he returned it for negative 4 yards back to their 2-yard line. I think they ended up scoring on that drive.
Things are bad when a win to Packers fans is did they catch and fair catch the punt?
Yeah.
That's oftentimes
it's bad.
a win.
So big stock down to Rich Bisaccia.
Stock down.
All right, another stock down. Not going to be a lot of suck ups today. It's the entirety of the offensive line. I think each player who did play individually had a game they probably would like to have back. I think the Zach Tom situation is weird. I think then when Zach Tom has only one play, Jordan Morgan started at right tackle, position we haven't seen him at any point. We've seen him at everything else but center. That to me was confusing. I thought Belton has been fine and serviceable in that spot. I do understand you probably want a little more experience there, but Jordan Morgan's versatility has been used seemingly against him, and it probably has gotten to his head a little bit of where the hell am I playing? How am I going to play? And oh crap, that's Myles Garrett. I do think he had a bad game, and he can play better, and he will play better. But I also think he's been put in a near impossible position. And then Elton Jenkins, we mentioned as well, hasn't played his best. Aaron Banks.
Just real quick on Jordan Morgan. 3 false start penalties.
Yeah, tough. Got to know the count.
His assignment was the one who blocked the game-winning field goal.
Yes, correct. You know who blocked that, right?
Yeah, it was
Wisconsin native.
Who?
Newsom?
Shelby Harris.
Oh, yes. I didn't realize he was still in the league.
Yes.
Yes.
He somehow is the world's best field goal blocker.
Is he really? Does he have many of them?
4 or 5.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm sorry. I blanked out his name. But, yes, he's a Wisconsin native. And he's been in the league for
long time. Good career he's had.
15 years. That might be a little long, but
he's old enough that I know people that played with him, and we have mutual friends.
He's 34 years old. His first year in the league was 2014. So I mean, this is his 13th season.
Good career.
NFL. Good for him.
Good career. And then the last part I was also going to mention is Aaron Banks.
Yeah.
3 games. And he hasn't completed a single one of them. He's had 3 separate injuries. He had a back injury, groin, ankle, you name it. I need you on the field, buddy. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean you don't sign that in
right
in the off season for him not to play.
I mean he was a priority for the Packers. He was signed at day 1, correct?
Yeah. Day 1 of free agency. Yes.
Yeah. So that to me, we got to figure out what's going on there. Why are so many injuries? What do we need to put him on some sort of Christian Watson program? Clearly, whatever the stretching and weightlifting that the training staff is doing with you is not working. We need to figure out how to keep you on the field.
And the other part of this, and I know we're talking offensive line and stock down, but the other free agent addition was Nate Hobbs. 43 of the defense's 66 snaps. 39 of the defense's 66 snaps had 4 on special teams. Bo Melton, by the way, 13 snaps.
Played offense.
13 snaps. 14 snaps. 13 of them on special teams, 1 of them on offense. What the hell is going on around here? All right.
Stock down.
stick with the stock downs because there's not a lot of ups to go from that 13-10 loss to the Cleveland Browns. Stock down to going undefeated. The Packers now 2-1, just a couple of days after left tackle Rasheed Walker, who did not have his finest day on Sunday against the Browns, said this to reporters earlier in the week.
I think we can go undefeated.
Yeah, he did think they could go undefeated. That is no longer the case as they get ready for a Week 4 matchup in Dallas. The Packers now 2-1, stock down to going undefeated.
I think we can go undefeated.
Stock up. This is what I've already heard some people try it out on Jen Gamachewy and Wildy and Tausch this morning. Stock up to wake-up calls.
Yeah.
We didn't think we'd need one. And if you're going to spin anything positive out of what happened yesterday in Cleveland, this is a big-time wake-up call that this is the NFL, and you guys were sniffing your own crap. You guys were high and mighty, thinking, hey, we can beat anybody, but now you got the wake-up call. Let it be the last one of the season, and let it mean something, and come out next week and look even better.
So I'm not ready for that quite yet. I
can tell.
I think I'm going to get there, though.
You'll get there by the end of KBN.
Oh, you think that's a Monday thing?
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe by Wednesday's episode I'm there. But I don't know if I'm ready to sit here and say that was a wake-up call. Because, look, good teams beat bad teams. I do not view the Cleveland Browns as a good team.
They aren't.
They might be fine. They might win 7 games. I don't know. I don't know what their ceiling is this season. I probably won't watch another Browns game this year unless they're on, like, Monday night.
The Ravens scored 40 on them.
That's what I'm saying. Right? Good offenses adapt to situations. The offense looked awful yesterday for the Green Bay Packers. Couldn't get the running game going. Jordan Love did not have a very good day. And obviously, you're dealing with a half-healthy Tucker Kraft. You're without Jaden Reed. You're without Christian Watson. What this offense will look like at hopefully full strength at the end of the year is a little bit different than it looked like yesterday in Cleveland. But they looked really, really rattled by that Cleveland front seven. You had some guys in that Cleveland defense that had awesome days, which I would argue maybe none better than Carson Schlesinger, easy for me to say, who had a terrific day for them. He was everywhere.
Pat on the back to me for giving that out on Weekly Wager as the Defensive Rookie of the Year bet.
Looking good through 3 weeks.
Looking damn good.
Looking really good through 3 weeks. Obviously, Myles Garrett wreaked havoc a little bit. Malik Collins, their interior lineman, was all over Jordan Love. I think he had more than a sack. So, all in all, this offense looked really bad. And that's, again, to Joshy's point, a week after the Ravens put up 40 points on them. That's what I was anticipating from the Packers. Continue to let that momentum ride. If you need a wake-up call in week 3, that's probably not a good thing. That's the part I struggle with on this whole wake-up call thing. Now, do I think they go to Dallas and put the shellacking on the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football before the bye week?
It's the great deodorizer.
The answer is yes. I do think they go to Dallas. I do think they win big, and I do think they rebound going into the bye week. But I don't know if I like the fact that there's a wake-up call against the Cleveland freaking Browns in week 3. I don't know if I can get down with that. That's where I'm at right now. I hear you. I hear the argument. I hear people saying it.
We're mining for anything.
I've read a lot of the this is a good wake up call thing. I don't know if I can buy it. All right, there's stock down for week 3 as the Packers fall to the Browns 13-10.
I do have one that I want to add here.
Sure.
Can I give a stock down to young Will Sommers?
Yeah, you can give a stock down to Will. What did he do?
Well, yesterday, you would think, after Russell Wilson had a career day, a washed Russell Wilson had a career day against the Cowboys defense, young Will here would learn from his previous mistakes of being a Bears fan and believing and getting too high and mighty. But he was dabbing on us.
Dude, I've barely talked to him today, but I've walked past him several times. I've never seen him smile so much.
I'm having a great day. Strouf wouldn't even look me in the eye this morning.
I just want to say,
this is only going to end like one way, and
right.
It's not going to be good.
Right. Is it worth the victory lap you've taken the past 24 hours?
Yes.
To know how much worse that's going to make us?
Yes. I mean, I know the Cowboys aren't a great team. They don't have a good defense, but the Bears, they did what they were supposed to do to teams like the Cowboys. So to see that, it was a little inspiring.
Who they are supposed to do? They're in the same. They're in the same camp as the Cowboys.
Both of those teams are 1-2 now.
You guys are playing with Lincoln Logs. He's got nothing.
Caleb Williams was fine yesterday.
Fine.
He was pretty good.
He threw 4 touchdowns.
Is that good? How many did Love have?
See, this is.
You're getting yourself in trouble.
You know they play twice.
I got time before that. This is all going to wash away before then.
Did you happen to get a look at any of the pressure statistics against?
Yeah,
Caleb
offensive line was great.
Oh,
O-line played really good against a former Packer rusher who's pretty prolific, Kenny Clark. They shut him down pretty
Kenny Clark,
easily.
who's playing injured right now and had 2.5 sacks last year.
Yeah.
Kenny Clark, who had 1 tackle yesterday.
They shut him down.
Do you think
Kenny, but just so you're aware, Kenny Clark, Javonte Williams, and George Pickens all had the same amount of tackles yesterday.
Yeah. Dak sucks.
Javonte Williams is a running back. George Pickens is a wide receiver. Just making sure we're all on the
if
same
Caleb
page.
Williams
I mean, they
turns
did
out,
have 3 interceptions, so.
if Caleb Williams turns out to be as good as Dak, that's a massive win for you.
Correct.
He's going to be better than Dak. He was.
Okay.
Okay.
I will say this.
Okay. Statistically, Dak's been top 5 in the
Hunter's
league
out for
this
that.
year. Like,
Wow.
I was taking. I think Dak has been
Strouf.
great, and I think
Yes,
losing.
his PFF
I
has
think
been
losing,
top 5.
Not yes. He was not great yesterday.
I
No.
think losing CD Lamb ruined everything for them yesterday.
correct.
Sort of the same way the Eagles looked so bad when Carter spit in Dak's face. It changed everything in the complexity and the game plan. I think Dak is better than everyone gives him credit for, but I also don't think he's one of the elites.
We're gonna get to Will's weekend review in a moment. I will just say this: I'm gonna give the Bears a compliment. I'm gonna give somebody on the Bears a compliment. Luther Burden was good yesterday. Their second round pick.
well,
Missouri.
but there's an asterisk
highest
on all
graded
of that.
receiver.
There's an asterisk on all of that.
Uh-oh.
This is going to be the only week that the Bears have wide open receivers. The only secondary in the game of football, regardless of level, that is worse than the Cowboys are the Wisconsin Badgers. like those two teams are the worst at covering receivers. So the Bears did what they're supposed to because the Cowboys are Luke Fickle ass. They're worse than Turbo ass. They are literally the worst defense I've ever seen play football.
We're going to get to the Badgers if time allows.
Bears frisky ass now?
All right, we'll talk about it. Will, I want to give you the floor. Each and every Monday, Will gives us a recap of the NFL weekend that was.
This is a big moment for you. You're going to show up?
Yeah.
It's an abbreviated recap. I've given him the following assignment. Make it about the Packers, make it about the Bears. That's the only rules I gave Will this week in Will's Week in Review. It's a big moment. It's the first time in Will's tenure as an employee here at Good Karma Brands. The Packers have lost, and the Bears have won in the same week where they don't play each other. He did have the one win at the end of the regular season when Jordan Love only played a half.
The win.
And you were still an intern, I think, so you were pretty shy then. You weren't as boisterous as you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. As somebody who spent pretty much every moment he had here with Will, he did make a couple offhanded 0-1 or 1-0 in 2025 comments, but they died out quickly.
Yes, and so this is the first time we have seen a boisterous Will. With a Packers loss and a Bears win, here we go. It is time now for the Week 3 edition, Will's Weekend in Review.
Welcome to Will's Week in Review on Mr. Irrelevant with 3 losers and Will Sommers. What? Let's go to
Cleveland!
where the Packers went to take on the Browns. Speaking of losers, the Browns are the worst NFL franchise in the past 20 years with 213 losses. So if you hypothetically lose to the biggest loser, what does that make you? A mega loser. What? Let's find out what happened in the game now. The first half was super boring as the Packers battled in a close one to the NFL's most historically bad franchise. The only noise that was made in the first half was Brandon McMantis praying that his 39-yard field goal would go in. What? Late in the second quarter, the Browns offense practiced social distancing from the football as Joe Flacco threw a pass to a ghost, and Xavier, next of Kinney, was the closest blood relative to the ball and picked off Flacasket to end the first half. What? With 3 minutes left in the third quarter, Henry Jordini Love was practicing the dark arts and found John Fitz magic for his first NFL touchdown. Packers lead 10-0. With just 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Andre 3000 Schmidt didn't want the Browns to be the outcast and said, "Hey, yeah, we can score too," as he kicked a 35-yard field goal to make it 10-3. What? On the ensuing drive for the Packers on a big third down, Henry Jordini Love's magic came back to bite him as he,
I didn't see it.
Grant Dell Peekaboo, standing right in front of his face for an interception. Whop! After the Browns scored a touchdown, the Packers drove the ball down the field with a shot at a go-ahead field goal. But Tucker Kraft let a free rusher block Brandon McManus's field goal. A couple plays later, it was Andre 3000 Schmidt back at it again as he said, "I'm sorry, Miss LaFleur. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your Jordan cry. If I tried 1,000,000,000 times, I would never miss this field goal," as he split the uprights from 55 yards to give the Browns a 13-10 win. Wah! Now let's go over to Chicago, where the Bears hosted the Cowboys. Rome wasn't built in a day, but by year 2, construction has wrapped up as Caleb Williams hooked up with Rome Odunze for a 35-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter. On the first play of the next offensive possession, Caleb Williams hands the ball off to DeAndre Swiffer, who swiftly swept the ball back to Nolan Ryan Williams, who threw the ball 62 yards in the air flat-footed. And Luther was no burden as he hauled it in for a 65-yard flea flicker touchdown. Bears up 14-3. Leading 17-14 late in the second quarter, Caleb Williams stepped onto the red carpet and found Cole Kmet Gala for a 10-yard touchdown pass before the half. Bears up 24-14. In the second half, Caleb Williams said, "Oh, DJ, where's my DJ? Oh, there he is. He's so wide open," as Caleb Williams threw his 4th touchdown pass of the day to DJ Moore, completing a 19-play, 76-yard drive. What? Watching Dak made me want to yak as he threw 2 interceptions, and Tyreek made him his Steven's son in coverage all day as the Bears went on to win 31-14 over the Cowboys. Whop! Whop! With your Will's Week in Review, I'm Will Sommers.
Wow.
I enjoyed how he had the Berman voice, but when he sang, he lost it periodically. But then would try to give it back, back.
I turned into like a middle school girl.
I'm sorry, Mr. LaFleur. I am for real. Never meant to make your Jordan cry. That was
We did have one factual inaccuracy.
Yes, we did. It was not Tucker Kraft who missed the block. It was
He did miss a block, but it was not the one that ended in the block.
When I watch film, it still looks like Kraft, so I don't know.
Jordan Captain Morgan looked like he was drunk, allowing block field goal. I don't know.
Why don't you leave that to me?
Sorry, we leave that to winners
Yeah, the
around
winners,
here. Yeah,
yeah.
my bad. 3 losers and Will Sommers was quite an intro.
I honestly
it was well done.
I honestly think he was nicer about the Cowboys than I anticipated. I think he unloaded the clip on the Packers, rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys didn't play bad. The Bears just are really good and played a lot better than them. So there wasn't really many. I didn't have a lot of negative things to say.
Can you mark that for me, Hunter? We're gonna need that.
Yep, it's already been marked.
I heard him click it in the background.
Will said, "Oh no."
I'm gonna take my wins where I can get them. They don't come very often, so.
Mr. 36 says, "Bro, the Bears are trash, 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 big trash. There's nothing to gloat about. When you are a very good team, it is hard to get fired up to a weak team, even if they have a great D line." I guess I don't know what that second part means, but
you lost me.
Big trash is what I'm taking away from Mr. 36.
I will take solace in the fact that, and it's hard to even really play this game because all Will knows is heartbreak and disappointment. But there's going to be, like, Caleb isn't, as we all know, even if Caleb is growing and progressing, he's not going to look as good as he did because he's not going to play the Cowboys defense every week. He's still going to get happy feet. He's still going to throw the ball to no one.
Bears of who here? Raiders this week?
Yep, Raiders bye week, then Commanders. So gateway game 4-2.
Gateway game. What's that?
What does that mean?
It's a term. It was
like
a term.
for gateway drugs?
Yes, but to more wins. It was a term circulating on Bears Twitter that this was a gateway game. Like if we win this, we could go 4-2, 5-2, and be all the way back.
Well, I hate to break it to you. I don't think they're beating the Raiders.
Let's do a status update.
Why? Because Tom Brady's cheating?
Let's do a status update.
Already got the narrative.
Bears finished the season with blank wins.
Are you asking me to predict, or like are you asking me my feeling
What
based
you
on how
think-
many wins?
what you think is going to happen.
What do you mean? That'd be the same answer. The answer is yes to both of the questions you just asked.
Well, I thought he
Tell us
Hang
how
on,
many games
guys.
they're going to win.
Some actual news from Adam Schefter just came through for the Packers game on Sunday. CeeDee Lamb with a high ankle sprain, not expected to play against the Packers. This is just going to be bad. I'm not watching the game.
49-6.
Yeah.
49-6.
Yeah, because the Cowboys will get a punt return from Turpin, and they'll already be at midfield, and Brandon Aubrey can hit it from 70. So, yeah, I'll give him two field goals. But I'm telling you now, I'm not watching the game. I don't care that this is part of my job. I am not watching this. I can't do it.
All right, we'll convince you to watch it by Friday.
I'm going to forewarn people that I know teams have put up a lot against the Cowboys, but if your expectations are like 35 or we're terrible, I think you might end up disappointed.
Yeah. No, it might be a 24-10 win.
Yes.
I mean,
on Sunday night.
Matt LaFleur does like to take his foot off the gas a little bit, so I could see a 24-6 kind of a thing. Like, yeah,
I think
Cowboys
it'll
don't
be
score
a
a touchdown.
convincing win.
Yeah.
It'll be a convincing win, but it won't be in the style of Dan Campbell and obviously Ben Johnson now too, where we want to take it to them. We want to really slam it in. And
yeah, they've allowed 24, 37, and 31 through 3 weeks. So
you could have added
24,
another name to that too,
30.
Josh. You could have added Kurt Signetti to Brett Bielema.
Fair. But we need to go back to Will. We have to go back. How many wins do the Bears end the season with?
like 9. I think they go 9-8. That's just what the numbers are saying. The statistics, they jump off the page.
All right, we'll revisit in 2 weeks.
9?
9.
I'm gonna ride the high here.
I'll bet the under if you're offering any action.
I'm not.
What could I get the under 7 at?
You asking me?
Yeah, if you were making a book and I wanted to bet 6 or less wins.
Like how much money would I give you or odds?
Never mind.
Okay, this didn't work the way we thought
I don't
it
know
was
what
going
you're
to.
asking.
Let's just move on.
He's so drunk on a singular win.
I know, it's unbelievable. He's like I said, he's been
Against an
smiling all
ass
day.
team.
Somebody from the show had to win yesterday. Somebody had to win. Somebody had to bring a win, and it
His
had to be
brain
me. I
isn't
stepped
working.
up.
Speaking of wins, by the way, how do we do on our picks this week? I went 0 for 2.
I went 0 for 2.
Oh
Welcome to
yeah,
the
I
loser
think we
circle.
all went 0 for 2.
Yeah.
I'm counting the Rams game as a win in my purse. 2 blocked field goals.
So that makes me an even 3-3. Josh 4-2. You guys also 3-3. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still anybody's race.
I can't believe I was 3-0 in underdog picks. It was right there. It's right there.
It's right there. And then a blocked field goal. And I mean, 3 blocked field goals to end the noon slate. It's crazy.
All within a matter of 10 minutes.
I know, it was crazy.
I thought I was seeing replays.
I did too. I did too at first. Then I was like, wait a minute, that's not the Packers. Wait a minute, that's not the Eagles. Crazy. All right, let's get to what we missed because we got a couple things I want to cover quick that's non-Packers related. We're all going to be okay. It's a bad loss. I'm not calling it a wake-up call, but it's a bad loss. And those happen. Things happen. It's only week 3. A lot of ball
We
game
need to
left.
monitor Alex Strouf and what time it becomes wake up call.
Okay, so from 2 to 5, I'm filling in with Ben Brust. And Will is producing as well. So me, Will, and Ben are with you from 2 to 5 on KBN.
I think the right caller can get you there.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. But I don't know.
I want you to self-report.
We'll see.
Even
Okay.
if you don't
All right,
say it
I'll
on
self-report.
air,
Yeah.
the moment you think to yourself, wake up call.
I will text you. I promise. You have my word. All right, time now for what we missed and what we learned. That is presented by Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits, made locally in beautiful Door County. They've got gins, they've got vodkas, they've got whiskeys, they've got rums. They got whatever you need to elevate your tailgate, your party, your Saturday afternoon, whatever you got going on. Check out their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Local, affordable, award-winning, and delicious. doorcountydistillery.com to find the retailer nearest you, as well as a huge list of unique cocktail recipes. Let's start in college football. The Badgers lose embarrassingly on Saturday to Maryland on their home field.
You want to wave to that woman?
Oh, sure. Hello. Is she taking pictures of us? Okay. Look, this we talked about it. I mean, I heard the Wisconsin College Game Day postgame show. I heard everybody freaking out. I'm not surprised what we saw on Saturday. I picked them to lose. I did not pick them to lose as embarrassingly as they did. The Badgers stink. Luke Fickell is not the answer. and everything is bad. That's about my takeaway from Saturday.
I don't think there's anything I can do here to lessen the blow of what took
Here's
place.
what we should do. Here's what we should do.
I want to cede my time to Hunter.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, Hunter was the only optimistic person. I believe. What did he pick the score to be? 38-10 prior to the game.
He gave a screed on Wednesday that had me doubting my lack of belief. His belief had me. I'm not one who's easily will change their mind.
You're not.
I was going, what if he is right? He's giving me some interesting things.
Maybe I'm missing. Maybe I'm missing something.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You weren't missing anything.
No, and I severely underrated Luke Fickell's inability to coach a football team. In particular, like, how do you put Billy Edwards out there if he is just stepping away from a defensive lineman and then re-injures his knee? Like, he's in that bad of shape, and you can't, like, see that during the week? It makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't know how Ricardo Hallman has regressed every single year from what he was the first year Luke Fickell came in. Like, he was the guy that teams weren't throwing to his side of the field in college football. And now he's the guy teams attack. It's so bad. This isn't going to get better. He has finally lost me. The only way that I'm coming back to Badger football and I am going to buy any Wisconsin football gear, I would buy tickets to go to a game, is if they somehow run the table the rest of the way. That's the only way that he can get back any level of trust I have in this program. I'm teetering on whether or not I think they should allow, the university should allow Chris McIntosh to make the next coaching hire whenever that happens. Because this was such a bad miss, and then to double down on it literally within hours of that game, after you heard your half of your student section, because it wasn't even full, chanting "Fire Fickell" so loud that you could hear it on national TV. This is inexcusably bad. The program now, because of this, because of what it will do to high school recruiting and the transfer portal, you get a new coach in, you're not recovering now for another 3 to 4 years just because of the nature of things. Curt Cignetti and Indiana are an outlier. They're not the example of what happens in college football when you get the right coach. It takes multiple years to fix a program that is clearly this broken. I'm heartbroken. I am more upset about this Badgers loss and where they stand than I've ever been about the Cowboys, even after Micah Parsons got traded. This is bad. And it's not going to get better anytime soon.
No, so a couple things on that. The Cignetti and Indiana thing is interesting because I agree with you overall, right? It takes time to build up a program. But why can a team in the Big Ten do that with a coaching hire that was not touted as highly as Luke Fickell was 3 years ago now, November of 22 when he was hired? Why can a team who's historically never been a good football school just all of a sudden flip that switch? That's the part I'm confused on. And you know more than me, and it's a serious question.
A lot of it leans towards the level of NIL funding that they just had poured in to that program. There's also a level of the way in which Indiana has been recruiting, in particular, the way in which Indiana has been recruiting within the state of Wisconsin, even leading up to Cignetti, to a level of, and I'm going to actually be talking with Nick Osen from 247 Sports on Prep Mania Weekly tomorrow night, and we're going to talk about the recruiting in the state. But from what I have heard from coaches, there are coaches in this state who have not had a coach in their building from UW in years. And this goes back to Paul Christ. That's a huge issue. The Fickell staff has gotten better and they've reached out to players, but they aren't coming in and meeting these guys. Schools like Indiana, Notre Dame, Illinois, St. Thomas, which is an FCS school in the Twin Cities, they actually are. And I think that's a big issue here, is they've gotten better, but it is not nearly to where it needs to be, and other schools are just running laps around this university right now. And it's only going to continue to get worse.
I didn't see a path to 6 wins. I no longer see a path to 4 wins. I don't think.
I don't see a path to another win. After what I saw, like PJ Fleck is going to run circles around Luke Fickell.
It's not that game. Maybe Washington.
I think Washington can actually throw the ball.
After you lose to Maryland, you can lose to literally anyone.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I don't think anybody was giving Malik Washington, the Maryland true freshman quarterback, the respect he deserved. Kid looks like he's going to be a good quarterback.
Sure.
Yeah, and then
Nice
he's going to get way
He's
more
also- he's
NIL
also a
money, and
true
he's going to
freshman.
leave.
He's also a true freshman, so you could probably exploit inexperience, confuse him. You should be able to.
Wow, I was going to say, it
Well,
didn't look that
they-
way on
they did.
Saturday.
I was going to say, Josh.
But in those situations, I normally would feel pretty comfortable. Even mediocre talent could do that.
So, all right. So that's that on Badgers. I don't know if we'll ever talk about him again until
I'm okay
they
with
fire
that.
their coach.
I'm going to put it in my personal. We have to talk about every single loss. We have to. I
just don't care.
I think enough.
I'll watch, but I don't care.
The problem here we have is apathy. If you lose the fan base because you keep Luke Fickell in his spot, who continues to underperform,
I'm glad
who
that's the word you
continues
used.
who continues to take the program to lows we haven't seen since the 80s, that is something we should all care about and talk about and bring attention to, because inaction here is only going to make it worse.
This is over at ESPN.com, and this was according to the Wisconsin State Journal and Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, who Chris McIntosh called a meeting with after the game, said, quote, apathy is worst case, and so we're far from that.
He's the most
I've got bad
tone-deaf
news,
human
Chris.
being in the
What
world.
are we talking about here?
Every single person some of the biggest Badger fans I know, my grandfather being one of them, didn't really care. He was disappointed and thought it was embarrassing. Everyone I talked to when I go out, I went out last weekend for the Badgers game against Alabama. Nobody was paying attention
Nobody
to the TV.
cares.
Nobody cares.
Quote, I don't think there's anyone in the building that thinks that where we are at this moment in time right now, this is what Wisconsin football is, he said Saturday. I'll come back to what I said earlier. What's left to be done about that? What's left to be done about that is to learn from what happened on a day like today and grow. End quote from Chris McIntosh, the athletic director of the University of Wisconsin.
Also,
Gives you all you need to know.
incredible tone deaf, missing the mark, being seen with Mike
McCarthy yesterday,
And I
yeah.
know it wasn't a plan, and that, like, Mike McCarthy's daughter is a very good volleyball player. I'm sure they had prior to this had plans to hang out in that suite.
Yep.
But after you have an historic loss
Yeah.
in embarrassing fashion like that, you have to tell Mike, hey, Mike, you and I can't be sitting together in the suite because of the optics of it.
The optics are so bad.
So bad.
And I love that people blew it out of proportion. It made me happy.
Yeah. It's also the fact with this, too, that I feel like sometimes fans kind of forget that if your football program isn't good and isn't playing nationally televised games and playing well in those nationally televised games, your school doesn't get as many out-of-state applications, so you can't enroll as many out-of-state students as you want. That matters because schools get more money in tuition and they charge more for out-of-state students. Those students also stay on campus more, so they're spending more money on the campus and all of those things. That's important here. So it could get to a point where the university wants to, like, hey, we got to kind of fully overhaul this thing because this is a bad look for the university. I'm not saying it's there yet, but I'm saying with all of the optics stuff, this could be the beginning of what could be major turnover because of this. Because of a hire that 3 years ago we were like, this is... I think it's getting close to it,
I hear where
though.
you're coming from. I don't. I think Madison will always be a destination.
It's a good thing they got such an academic program.
Correct. I think and it's a terrific town.
They're a grade school.
It's a great great academics and a great party. I mean, the party doesn't going to die, right? I mean, you're still going to party on Saturday. State Street's still going to be bumping. That's not going to go away. Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
I do wonder about that.
All right, real fast, baseball. Brewers win their third straight NL Central title over the weekend, despite not winning on Sunday. The Cubs lost again to help them out. However, the Phillies lost again on Sunday, so it's still a 3-game separation between the Brewers and the Phillies for the top seed in the National League. There are 6 games remaining, and the Brewers have a technical 3.5-game lead because they did win the season series against the Phillies. The sad part for me is I really wanted to see triple digits. It ain't happening. They'd have to go 5-1 in their last 6, which in theory could happen, but likely without Brandon Woodruff now, William Contreras, we will see when he comes back. Injury bug hitting this team at the wrong time, but they still do hang on to the best record in baseball and likely will get some rest until October 4th after Sunday, regular season finale. So we will see. But Brewers, 3 games up on the Phillies. We'll update you on that on a little bit more on Wednesday as the Brewers look to lock up that top seed in the NL. All right, that's our reaction for Monday. Packers lose to the Browns. Badgers lose to Maryland. Brewers lose all weekend.
Brandon Woodruff. It's just making me sad.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, when the manager comes out and says he's devastated for a player, usually not a good sign if he'll be available in the postseason. So we'll see what happens. I'm not ruling him out. I'm ruling Woodruff out. I'm not ruling the Brewers out though.
I'm not ruling him out for the entirety of the postseason. I certainly am skeptical.
Yeah.
But the timeline would allow him to return for the DS. And the good thing is the Brewers locked up, skipping the wild card round, which has been the bane of our existence in recent memory. So that part is good. And I don't want to sound too defeated because he could still go out and do it. It just does feel like it's always something when it comes to getting near the postseason for the Brewers. And that can be deflating, but I'm not going to give up my hopes yet.
No deflation here. We're not allowing deflation yet. Okay. That does it for us.
Hey, Will.
Actually, Will, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I got one word today. It is winner. A victor, especially in games and sports. I'm the lone winner on the Mr. Irrelevant program on this fine Monday.
Talk to you on Wednesday.
That was good.